Her voice trembled, carrying every unspoken fear between the lines. She called with a fragility that cracked my heart wide open. That urgency isn't just words, it's a wound bleeding into silence. She asked again, voice shaking like a candle in a storm. Her trembling is the language of love bruised but unbroken. She waits, trembling on the edge of a truth too fragile to face. Her voice carries the weight of every secret kept too long. She called for you, like a prayer whispered in a broken chapel. That urgency is the echo of a love demanding reckoning and release. She asked, voice cracking under the pressure of unsaid goodbyes. Her trembling is a fragile hope wrapped in layers of fear. She waits, trembling, holding a question that could unravel us both. Her voice breaks like fragile glass, falling slow into the dark. She called your name with a tenderness sharpened by years of waiting. That urgency is love's last breath before surrendering to silence. She asked with a trembling heart, chasing shadows in the night. Her trembling words are the echoes of promises lost to time. She waits, caught between love's fragility and unforgiving truth. Her voice is trembling because some wounds refuse to close quietly. She called for you with trembling hope and quiet desperation. That urgency is a delicate thread pulling the past into the present. She asked again, voice breaking under the weight of hidden pain. Her trembling is a confession carved from the depths of love. She waits with trembling hands, holding pieces of a shattered past. Her voice shakes like a fragile flame fighting the encroaching dark. She called your name with trembling breath and heart undone. That urgency is a silent scream wrapped in whispered apologies. She asked, trembling, carrying the fragile weight of what remains. Her trembling words are the soft fracture before the inevitable fall. She waits, trembling between the shadow of love and loss. Her voice breaks because some truths demand to be shattered first. She called for you with trembling hope hidden beneath quiet dread. That urgency is a pulse beating through the silence of waiting. She asked again, voice trembling like a leaf clinging to a branch. Her trembling is love's fragile echo haunting the corridors of time. She waits, trembling, caught in the liminal space of what could be. Her voice shakes like a fragile thread ready to snap free. She called your name with trembling hands carrying years of regret. That urgency is the last flicker before the darkness swallows everything. She asked, trembling, seeking answers lost beneath the weight of time. Her trembling words are the breath before a storm long overdue. She waits, trembling on the cusp of truth and forgetting. Her voice cracks under the burden of unspoken fears and love. She calls for you with trembling hope and a heart wide open. That urgency is a quiet roar beneath fragile layers of hope. She asked, voice shaking like a prayer barely held together. Her trembling is a sacred fracture in the armor of silence. She waits, trembling, holding onto memories that refuse to fade. Her voice shakes like the fragile edge of an unfinished story. She called your name with trembling breath and trembling soul. That urgency is love's desperate plea carved into the quiet night. She asked again, trembling, carrying the ghosts of all we left behind. Her trembling words are the fragile bridge between pain and peace. She waits with trembling heart, caught between fear and forgiveness. Her voice breaks like fragile ice, melting beneath the warmth of truth. She called for you with trembling hope and trembling hands. That urgency is the silent storm brewing beneath fragile calm. She asked, voice trembling like a flame flickering in the dark. Her trembling is the language of a love too fragile to speak aloud. She waits, trembling on the edge of a reckoning long overdue. Her voice shakes like the delicate fracture of a breaking dawn. She calls your name, carrying the weight of years. That urgency is a quiet plea, echoing through the halls of memory. She asked, trembling, holding on to a hope too fragile to speak. Her trembling words are the soft fracture before the fall of silence. She waits with trembling soul, caught in the liminal space of love and loss. Her voice breaks because some truths demand to be shattered to heal. She called for you with trembling hope, hidden beneath the weight of fear. That urgency is a pulse beating through the silence of endless waiting. She asked again, voice trembling like a leaf about to fall forever. Her trembling is love's fragile echo haunting the silent corridors of time. She waits, trembling, caught between the shadow of what was and what could be. Her voice shakes like a fragile thread, ready to snap under pressure. She called your name with trembling hands carrying years of longing and regret. She asked again, this time with tears that spoke louder than her words. Her voice cracked, carrying the weight of stories she couldn't share. She waits on the edge of fear and forgiveness, fragile and fierce. That trembling voice is a key, unlocking doors we never dared open. She called your name like a prayer lost between hope and despair. My mother's voice is breaking, shattered shards of unsaid love. The urgency in her tone is a storm disguised as tenderness. She's shaking because what's coming isn't just a conversation, it's a reckoning. Her voice hides the fractures of a heart breaking silently. She asked, no in this moment could unravel everything we built. That urgency is a fragile thread, pulling me into a forgotten past. She waits, trembling with the weight of 1,000 silent nights. My mother's voice is the fragile edge between hope and collapse. She called for you with the fear that lives beneath calm. Her trembling words are the pulse of a love, pushed to breaking. She's holding a secret too heavy for silence anymore. Her voice shakes because some truths demand a shattering first. She asked with eyes that carry the wounds of waiting. Too long. That urgency is a breath caught in the storm of what's real. She waits for you, carrying every unsaid apology between each tremble. Her voice is fragile glass, ready to cut through the silence. She called, trembling between heartbreak and hope's fragile promise. The urgency in her tone is a love too scared to fade away. She asked because the past refuses to stay buried quietly. Her voice cracks open the space where our ghosts still whisper. She's trembling, caught between the fear of truth and the relief it brings. She waits, a fragile bridge between forgiveness and the unknown. That urgency isn't just words, it's a soul, unraveling in real time. She called your name with a trembling that holds every heartbreak. Her voice is the echo of a love that never quite healed. She asked with a weight heavier than silence itself. The urgency is a fragile flame refusing to be extinguished. She's trembling because some wounds scream louder than tears. She waits with a quiet fear wrapped in fragile hope. Her voice shakes like a prayer whispered from the edge of breaking. She called for you through the shadows of memories we hide. That urgency is a quiet plea to mend what's been broken. She asked, voice trembling like the last leaf before winter's fall. Her silence speaks louder than the tremble. In her words, she waits on the fragile edge of love and betrayal. Her voice is a fragile thread connecting past wounds to present fears. She called with trembling hope, a fragile light in a dark room. That urgency is the heartbeat of a love both fierce and broken. She asked because silence has become too heavy to bear. Her voice trembles, carrying the weight of 1,000 unspoken nights. She waits with a fragile heart and a storm beneath calm. Her trembling words hold the power to fracture and to heal. She called for you with the desperation of one who waits too long. She asked, her voice breaking like waves crashing on forgotten shores. Her silence hides a trembling truth too fragile to face alone. She waits, caught between the pain of past and hope of future. Her voice shakes because some truths demand to be heard, no matter the cost. She called your name with trembling hands holding fragile memories. That urgency is a prayer, a plea, a fracture in time. She asked, with a heart trembling beneath the weight of love's past. Her voice is the fragile edge of a love hanging by a thread. She waits with a trembling soul and a question burning in silence. Her trembling words are a bridge between what was and what could be. She called, voice shaking with the urgency of a heart undone. The chambers of forgotten promises. She asked because some love stories demand an honest reckoning. Her voice trembles like a fragile flame in the wind's relentless storm. She waits on the fragile boundary between forgiveness and forgotten pain. Her trembling is the language of a heart too full of secrets. She called for you with trembling hope beneath fragile fear. That urgency is the echo of a love refusing to be silenced. She asked with trembling breath, a confession waiting to be made. Her voice is the delicate crack where love and fear collide. She waits, trembling, for a truth that could either break or heal. Her trembling words hold the weight of years wrapped in silence. She called your name with trembling, hope buried deep beneath regret. That urgency is the last flicker of a fragile heart's desperate plea. She asked, voice shaking like the fragile edge of a breaking dawn. Her silence trembles louder than any words she could say. She waits, fragile and fierce, on the edge of what comes next. My dear, today my mother's voice trembled, like a secret breaking open. She asked for you with eyes that refused to lie. Her urgency was a storm wrapped in trembling silence. There's a question she holds between her lips, bleeding. When my mother's voice shakes, even the stars pause to listen. She's waiting, not for answers, but for the truth to surface. The weight of her question crushes the space between us. You are the ghost she cannot stop haunting her thoughts. In her voice, I hear a love that's scared to shatter. She knows the story, but fears the ending you bring. Her shaking words are the echo of a wound unhealed. My mother's trembling is a confession, buried and raw. She carries a question like a candle flickering in the dark. The urgency in her voice is a secret begging for light. She's both lost and waiting, trapped between hope and dread. Her voice quivers with the weight of what's left unsaid. She called your name. World shifted beneath my feet. You are the silence in her voice, the ache she can't place, that urgent plea. It's love, bleeding through fear's veil. Her shaking words carry the weight of every unanswered question. She demands you come because she's too afraid to stay silent. My mother's voice is breaking, and the cracks speak louder than words. She's waiting for you like a wound waits for healing. The tremble in her voice is the dance of a heart on edge. She knows something the quiet can't hold anymore. Her urgency is a fragile thread pulling me towards you. When she asks for you, it's the universe folding in. She fears what she must hear but needs to hear still. The quiver in her voice is a map to forgotten pain. She's carrying a storm beneath her calm, and it's breaking free. Her trembling words are a silent scream for a reckoning. That urgency, it's love. Unbearable. My mother's voice is cracked glass, beautiful and dangerous. She asked about you as if asking for breath itself. Her urgency is the echo of a heart breaking open. She waits for you to fill the spaces left empty by time. That trembling voice is the last fortress before the fall. She speaks in shards, fragments of a story, still unfolding. The urgency in her words is love begging for clarity. She asks with fear, wrapped in fragile hope. Her shaking voice is the echo of memories that won't die. She carries the weight of your absence in every quiver. My mother's plea is a prayer disguised as urgency. She's trembling, caught between what was and what could be. The question she asks is a wound still raw, still open. She calls you. She calls you with a voice heavy enough to break worlds. Her trembling is a confession, a call for reckoning and peace. She waits, breath held, on the edge of a truth unknown. The urgency in her voice is a flame, desperate not to die. My mother's question is a silent story told in breaks. She asked for you today. The universe holding its breath. Her voice shakes like the last leaf before it falls. Urgency. The tremor of love refusing to let go. She calls you through the storm of silence between us. Her trembling she waits with a fragile hope wrapped in fierce shadow. The quiver in her voice is the sound of a soul unraveling. She asks for you because her heart refuses to forget. Her urgency is a secret past between trembling breaths. She calls your name, fragile as a prayer, whispered in the dark. My mother's voice carries the weight of 1,000 unsaid things. She's trembling, waiting for a truth she fears and needs. Her urgency is a broken promise, seeking its healing. She asks with the soft desperation of a fading light. The tremble in her voice is the crack before the dawn. She calls for you, a fragile thread in the web of silence. Her shaking is the language of a heart too full to hold. My mother's question is the echo of love's deepest wounds. She waits for you, the last piece of a shattered puzzle. Her voice shakes because some truths refuse to be gentle. She asked for you like asking the sky to hold its tears. That urgency is love's tremble before the final surrender. She calls through the silence, a fragile bridge across time. Her trembling is the poetry of pain wrapped in hope. She waits, caught between the storm and the calm. The question she asks is the breath before the fall. Her voice shakes, carrying the weight of a silent storm. She calls you with the urgency of a heart breaking open. If this touched your soul, don't scroll. Like, comment your favorite quote and subscribe for more.